Okay, in the workshop today, we've got my BMW gs1200. It's in for service. It's a 2005 bike. So, here's some of the service stuff. Some of it's specialist tools. This is the products we're going to be using for the service. I actually bought this as a kit from Motorworks. This is just some additive for the gearbox. Anybody that knows anything about these BMWs knows that they've got tractor gearboxes, so they do benefit from the additive. So we're going to be servicing that. Got the dog helping as well today. You're going to be in the spanner. Okay, so first thing, we're going to get the bike up to temperature, obviously by starting and running it. So that's the next job, so we'll start it up. Let the oil get to temperature. I'll bring this back when it's warm. When it's warm, getting warm, run it. Get the tools out, dog. Time to do the service. Okay, so it's like warming up. We've got this underplate to take off, obviously. And we've given a nice hole for the drain, but you still have to get in there and get the oil filter out. So you still have to drop the van, so I don't know why. We should have made a cut out here so you could get the oil filter out. Okay, so this is supported on these rubber pieces. So I just like to use these hands legs, go in here, just give a bit of support to these when you're unscrewing them, stop this rubber twisting. That's basically they've covered it. So cover down now, you can see oil filter and drain there. Quite bad state actually. I've got new stainless ones to go in. So now you need your mum's best basin. Cut your oil. This is a George brand. Just ideal. And obviously you're getting your gloves. You don't want oil in your hands. It's carcinogenic and cause cancer. So I'll quickly put them gloves on and then we'll crack on with getting this plug out, which should be fun. It's probably seized in there. Okay, I'm back now. I've got my marigolds on. Let's cut this off. So that's just going the right way. Not easy. I definitely didn't slacken that before. Oh, lovely. Now you see why I've got the cardboard. Can't actually remember how many miles is in the oil. 4,000 or 5,000 I think, if I mind right. Yeah, so now unscrew old oil filter. You get it nice and slack, so you can get them by hand and push a liquid bowl over. Drain it. Lovely. All the Just Stop oil lovers are going to love this. Oh, a nice oil refinery there. Now you see the rubber O-rings came off of that now. I need to make sure to remove that, it's stuck up in there, see that? See? Special BMW tool. used for getting off the oil filler cap. So there we go. So you want to open this before you dump your oil. Yeah, slip one up in there. See if it's no ring there. So while we're waiting for the oil to drain, we're going to remove these coil plugs. There's a spark plug in behind there and one up behind here. So you need to take all this plastic cover down, and then we'll be using this special tool for pulling the coil packs. This stops them getting damaged. So how it works, it just slides on like that, locks it in, then you can get a good purchase on it. So push against there, pull, take it off, then you can safely remove your coil pack. I'm just going to set it up there out of the way, and that lets us get into the spark plug down in there. This is all filthy, needs to clean. So, spark plug removal. Hard to see, camera won't focus. There you go, look, running slightly lean. So going back in with a new plug. I just like to do these one at once. You know, take one out, put one in, work round underneath, around the bike. That way you don't forget. I'm going to torque this up. Just for proof, I do torque my spark plugs. Now back in with the coil. It just pushes home, and then the cover goes back on. But I'm going to clean in here first, then I'll put the cover back on. So this under one, there's a fastener there. This slides off. I've already unclipped it just to make it easier. That bolt there, this bolt here. These two come out, and then you can get to this coil pack, because it's a twin spark engine. So there's a plug in there, and there's a plug under here. So twin spark, hence the name. Okay, I'll bring you back once I get this down. So here's your underneath coil. I've already slackened it, make it easier. There's your other plug. So same again, we'll just set that to the side there, and we'll get on that bad boy. So we need to get off the top wrench. We need this to attach it, and we'll go into here. That's it. So it's always to check your gap, obviously, and check it's the same number as what came out. You can check the length and everything. It's just basic. I know these plugs are right. I've been serving this bike for 5 years. Well, I think I've had it for 4 years anyway. I've definitely had it 4 years. Service once a year. I usually rotate these plugs halfway, so I'll take this one and put it in there, halfway between the oil change. That's why I do these. So they're only a year old on plugs. But it's done every year. So that's it all back together now. Obviously I've got to do the other side. So I'll crack on and do that. You don't need to see this, it's just exactly the same at the other side. And then we'll crack on putting the sump plug back in. New oil filter is still draining, you see. And then we'll crack on with the gearbox. And then we'll do the inspection and have a check of everything else. It's due its MOT as well, this bike, so to get it inspected, check all the tyres, brakes, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so now the oil filter. Obviously there's all the copper washers that have to be replaced. Comes with the service kit. That's the number of the oil filter. If anybody's watching this, it's got this bike. 2004 to 2006. I think you maybe got some 2007 bikes. That shape. Head. So yeah, let's get this stuck on. Here's a tip for mechanics for you. Always check the threads on these oil filters. The cast and metal style, always you usually get a bit of swarf in there. And as you can see, there's little bits in there where they've been cut in. Thread sometimes. I get a clean bit of rag and I'll show you if anything comes out. It's hard to see on camera, but see that bit of metal? So I basically put that in there, screwed it around with my finger. So it just shows you. My old journeyman told me that years ago. It's a tip for people. Just when the factory they're cutting the thread, sometimes they don't get cleaned properly, so it's a good thing to know. Always lube up your filter seal. So, always lube up your seal. In this instance, going to be using a tool. You can't really get up there with your hand, it's kind of awkward. It's easier just using the tool. This just needs nipped very gently. There's not even really a torque setting for this. Just take it to and then just nip it. It's your copper washer. This one. That's ready to go back in. That's your old one. Chuck that in there. So there you have it. We'll stick that back in, torque it to spec, and then we'll pour the oil in. Which one? Torqued. Okay, so we're onto the gearbox now. We're going to drain it. Always take out your fill plug first. Don't use your hand as a hammer. So that's slack. The reason for this is if obviously you couldn't get this out and you drained your oil, your bike's kind of stuck. If you don't have the experience or the knowledge, at least if you take out the level plug first, you know you're going to get oil back in. Okay? Right, so now we need to get to that plug there, which is going to be this 19 here. Okay, I've slackened it. Now to drain it. It's gone tight. I'm going to have to use the ratchet and get it out. I'll come back. Okay, I switched drains. I got this old oil container, cut it open. I actually want to see what comes out in this gearbox. So, clean tub, let me see what's going on. Plus it fits better under here, because if you look where that drain plug is, it's going to land probably. Yeah, so let's try and catch it. Get this out first. Kind of hard to do with one hand. Okay. It's quite good gear oil. It's fucking making a mess. It's hard to film and drain oil at the same time. Okay, new drain plugs in. Torque to spec. You'll just have to take my word for it, because I don't think you want to sit much bolts getting torqued all day. Right, so now we're going to fill this up. I'm going to put some of that additive in that I mentioned earlier. And this stuff. So, get some cutters. And then this stuff. It's going in the gearbox. Really good product. Castrol's the best. If you're wondering what the ramp looks like, and that's why I put down cardboard, because it makes a mess. So halfway through here I'm going to put that stuff in, the additive. Now in goes the additive. So for anybody interested in that stuff, it's almost like graphite. So I'll put the remainder in here, the dregs. Then I'm going to fill the rest of this up again to the level, just to get it kind of mixed. That was why I stopped halfway through, just to mix it before obviously it goes into the... I'll mix in the gearbox anyway, like, but... Okay, it's running out now, so it's at its level. I'll drain down a little bit to its level, then we'll shove the plug in. Okay, new plug going in. It's stainless, I'll have to torque it. So I'll go ahead and torque it up and I'll come back. I'm not paying you to lie around. Help me fill the engine up with oil. Okay, so we're ready to fill the engine full of oil. There is the sight glass. Motorbikes don't have dipsticks, they have sight glasses. Well, some do have dipsticks actually, but it depends. BMW use this system. So you want your oil to be in between these two red circles. So when you first put oil in, you just want to basically see it, so just down here on the minimum, and then run the bike, because it's obviously got an oil cooler. Well, it's not obvious, but it's got an oil cooler here, and it needs to circulate that oil. So there's the oil I'm using, Castrol again, 2050. This is what this bike recommends to use for this specific model. Here's my funnel. I've thoroughly cleaned that off camera. Always make sure your funnels are clean. If any debris. Okay, so we'll get cracking. I'll get the oil poured in and I'll bring these back. Oh, he's putting 2-stroke oil in his 4-stroke motorcycle. It's not 2-stroke oil, it's a special additive. So there you go, off camera I poured the oil in. That's where it's sitting in the eyeglass. Slightly actually high for my liking, but I know this bike pretty well. Done enough oil changes, so there's like a litre left. So now we're going to start it up and run it up, see where the oil ends up. Okay, continue rolling for the oil cap. Remember to take that one out. It goes in there. I find it easier just to push it in here first. And then I just need to make this one now because we're going to have to possibly put more oil into the engine. So just nip that up. Now we're going to start the bike. Nothing but it's got oil pressure, perfectly normal. Then we'll let the engine get back warm again, same as before. I like to have this fan running as well when I'm running up the BMWs, just because obviously they're relying a bit of airflow. So that's it warmed up to temperature enough, obviously without putting it on a load. So now I'm going to jack it up, let the oil settle down at the bottom, and we'll see where we've ended up with oil level. Probably, I don't think we'll need to add, I think that should be fine. Should be within spec between minimum and maximum, but we'll check. I'll come back soon when the oil's settled. Last service item on the bike really is the air filter. It's tucked in behind here. So this panel here has to be removed, the seat, and then this panel here. There's a bolt. Where you got bolt in there somewhere. So I'll show you how to remove that. This panel just pulls off from you. Just a pop on the panel. So the air filter, this panel gets removed. It's the last service item. And then behind there, this tube, 2 push clips, this whole tube pulls, and this panel has to be removed. So I'll bring these back, I'll get this panel off, and we'll get in there and get the air filter changed. The seat has to be removed. Okay, so the easiest way to access this bolt is in from the other side. Much easier. Take that out. Now you see this panel's nice and slack here. So there and there. And this whole panel just comes off the panel. And that gives us access to this pipe, which are intake. Air filters in behind there. These 3 fasteners, that one and that one, this panel comes off, then you can get in. I've got my fog lights, the relay for the fog lights here, so I just like to cut this tire up, move this relay out of the way, and then I can slide this out. There's a rubber in there as well, it's held on. I'll show you. These are just like slide clips, the sliding hook in, you just basically pull them out. Top one, bottom one, this. There you have it. Not much wrong with this air filter, it's only a year old. But see, it's slightly straightened up. Muscle there. There's a part number. Okay, put the panel back on. Now we're going to put this big panel back on, and then this little panel. And that's the last service item done. And part 2, we're going to do the inspection on the bike. Check the brakes, spanner check a few things, caliper bolts, things like that. Go through the bike, check the suspension, check for any leaks. Yeah, and basically just get ready for its test, do the tyre pressures, check all the functions, lights, wheel bearings. I'll show you how to do all that in the next video. So follow for part 2. E1 in. See the play, but also it's actually slack. This is turn and look, and the actual bolts. See it? Okay, so this is going to be a quick tutorial how to fit new grip puppies. You can see this thing's split. Now the mistake I made last time was I didn't shorten them doing enough, so it's been sitting on the high rise bit, and obviously over time it's just cracked. So we're going to get this off, pull this off, and I'll show you how to fit the new one on. So remove this bolt, remove this, this is split, so you can just pull this off. obviously this is the throttle, so you've got to be careful. That's oldie. Great puppies. So as you see, it's actually too big, so this time I'm going to trim it with a pair of scissors. So it's sitting here rather than going over this edge. That's what I think caused it to split last time. So you want to get it started initially like this, and then you take your air compressor air line, and what you do is you force the air in here, and you work this around, and it pushes it onto the bar. Like that, and then put your hand on here at the same time and push it on. So you see, I've got it halfway on. You just keep working it. The further you get, the easier it gets. And there you have it. It's fitted perfect. No cuts, no tears, no damage. Perfectly on there. No lubricant, so it's not going to slip. Nice free action. So that's the company. If anybody wants to supply and fit a pair of these for themselves, that's the company there, can supply them. As far as I know, it's a UK based company, so it's good to support our own local business.